This video is about continuity and change, which is one of the historical thinking concepts. Continuity and change is about things that continue from time to time, so things that stay the same, and it's about the way other things change from time to time. So with continuity and change, you're comparing a moment in history to the present, or you're comparing a moment in history to another moment in history, and you're comparing and contrasting, or seeing how things are the same between those two moments and how things are different between those two moments. For examining continuity and change in this video, we are going to look at some historical photographs. So we're using primary source evidence about history in order to look at continuity and change. So this is a historical picture, and it is something where I'm wanting you to look at some of the details, and I'm wanting you to try and figure out what this is a picture of and make an inference, and then think about how you can compare the way things are in this picture to the way they are today in the present. So the big question is, what is this picture of? And so if you want to think about it, you can pause the video for a few seconds. You can also look back at the picture. You can sort of think about it. I'm going to give you a couple of hints. It's Kelowna. It's in 1971. And you can see Okanagan Lake in the background, and you can see Highway 97. It's a photograph of Orchard Park Mall in 1971. What is the same today as it was in the picture? That's continuity. The mall is still there. We still drive cars to malls. Parking lot is evidence of this. What other continuities are there that you can see in the picture compared to today? What's different in the picture compared to today? That's change. There has been a lot of development around the mall. So if you look on one side of the mall where there used to be a farmer's field, now there is a movie theater and a Save-On. And across the highway from the mall, where there's a field in the picture, there is now a McDonald's and some hotels. And you can look at the different parts of the picture and try to think about what has been built there and what's different there now compared to when the picture was taken. This is another historical picture, and I'd like you to think about what this picture might be of and start to compare and contrast this picture with how things are in that same place today. So what is this picture of? If you need to pause the video for a few seconds to think about it, go ahead and do that. And I'll give you a couple of hints. It's Kelowna again. It's also in 1971. It's a zoomed in view compared to the last photo. It's the front of Orchard Park Mall. What is the same today as it was in the picture? The Sears store was still in the mall until recently, but its name was shortened from Simpson Sears to Sears. There's still parking at the mall. What's different in the picture compared to today? The cars were different. The parking spots were at a different angle. And now Sears has been replaced. Take a look at this picture and see if you can figure out what it is. Once again, pause the video for a few seconds to think about it if you need. It's in Kelowna as well, in Rutland. It's in 1952. And the same building is still there today. It's Rutland Middle School when it was a high school. What is the same today as it was in the picture? So once again, if you wanted to think of some things, you could pause the video for a minute and try and think of some things and then see if I come up with the same ones. The building is still there. It's still a school. What's different in the picture compared to today? Once again, pause the video if you'd like and see if you can think of some. Look at all the bikes. What does that tell you about what things were like in 1952? That area of the picture where the bikes are is a parking lot now, and that's the busy Rutland Road. So this is another historical picture. Take a moment to look at the details, see if you can see anything that gives you an idea of where this picture might have been taken or what it's a picture of. Pause the video for a few seconds to think about it if you'd like. It's Kelowna. It's in the 1950s. The mountain in the background is on the west side, and the Paramount sign on the left is still there. This picture is of downtown Kelowna on Bernard Avenue. So if you were to look down the same line of sight today, you would see the sails, and the Paramount picture or Paramount sign is over on the left, and it's still there now. What's the same today as it was in the picture? The street's still there. The Paramount sign is still there. We still drive cars. Do you recognize any business names? What's different in the picture compared to today? What is that sign about the ferry about? So what is a ferry? And it would be pointing to somewhere you would go with your car. So think about that. How did people get across the lake before the bridge was built? Take a look at this picture of a public notice. You can take a moment to read it. You can be thinking about comparing it and contrasting it with the present day. It's from a newspaper. It's from 1918. There was a pandemic in 1918. So this is a notice in the newspaper about closing things to stop the spread of the Spanish flu. So you'll notice that schools were closed in 1918 as well. What is the same today as it was in the picture? How is COVID-19 similar to the Spanish flu? What's different in the picture compared to today? How are we able to do remote learning today, and how is that different from 1918? Think about the things that we are able to use or the technologies and tools that we can use for remote teaching and learning today, and think about whether they had anything like that in 1918. I hope that this video about continuity and change has helped you to understand the historical thinking concepts a little bit more and to understand in particular the concept of continuity and change, or how things stay the same and how other things change between points in history and between history and the present.